Tales from the Crypt was an anthology series that originally aired on HBO in the late 80s to mid-90s. It ran for 7 seasons and was often directed by big-name filmmakers like Robert Zemeckis and Richard Donner, to name a few. To be honest, as much as I loved horror movies, I didn't watch it that much, but the one thing everyone remembers was the Crypt Keeper, the ghoulish host who introduced each episode. I never knew if he was supposed to be a skeleton, a zombie, or a mummy, but either way, he had a fascinating personality and could have probably had a movie of his own.
But I was glad to see the wolf hit one out of the pork.
He was one of the more memorable contemporary horror hosts. Because the show was on HBO, that also meant that it could be a little more gory than the typical primetime thriller, so it drew an audience and was considered a hit when it aired. The episode that stands out the most was actually the series finale, the only animated episode, called The Third Pig. Obviously, it's a retelling of The Three Little Pigs, but the Disney animated short this is not. It follows the 3 brothers, Dudley, Smokey, and Drinky. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of imagination when it came to those last 2 pigs, who are all being harassed by the big bad wolf, voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait.
I'm not a damn poet! Why does everything always have to rhyme in these things?
The start of the episode is very much like what you've heard so far. The 2 dumbass pigs, who've also picked up smoking and drinking habits, build their houses out of straw and sticks and are forced to move in with their smart brother when the wolf blows down their houses. Where it gets crazy is when the wolf tricks the pigs into letting him into their home, where he flat out butchers and eats the pigs. It's animated, gratuitous violence at its best, and it was one of the most disturbing things I remember seeing as a kid because it was a cartoon. Yeah, I knew it was Tales from the Crypt, but at the time, I had no idea how extreme they were going to take this. The animation style is very similar to something you'd see on Nickelodeon, and while those shows could appear very adult, you'd never see Ren and Stimpy do this. So Dudley, the 3rd pig, returns home to the crime scene, and when he calls the police, of course, the entire police department, as well as the court, are all made up of wolves who sentence him to die.
Sorry, son, the system's done all it can. I sentence you to die in this frying pan.
In jail, Dudley's dead brothers show up as ghosts and tell him that the only way their souls will find peace is if he kills the wolf. They break him out of jail and take him to an empty castle, where Dudley can begin working on a zombie Frankenstein pig to carry out the deed. The episode is narrated by the Crypt Keeper himself, and most of the dialogue is done in rhyme.
The gore is still down. My God, there's intestines strung round the lamp.
With the exception of the wolf, who can't seem to get his shit together. Seeing it today, it's a clever, funny little remnant of the 90s that seems to get overshadowed by the series as a whole. I would have loved to see more episodes done in this style. It definitely sets the mood for Halloween, and I consider it an underrated little gem that belongs right there next to It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, Garfield's Halloween Adventure, and Bungholio Lord of the Harvest.